talk about this stuff. Again, this is granular. Some of this stuff is granular detail, but you never get this when you go to these seminars and conferences. People don't talk about this stuff because it's not fun, right? It doesn't sell the book. But this is the stuff that you're going to encounter as an owner, right? So I'm just giving you, this is years of experience, a lot of pain. So these are some key things. You can paint cabinets. I didn't know this, right? I thought if you want new cabinets, you got to buy new cabinets. You do not. Am I saying that you should paint every cabinet? No. But I'm saying that oftentimes, especially in a lower end rental, you can paint a cabinet and it'll look great. It'll actually, if you do it properly, right? Don't go and get your brush, right, instead of brush strokes, but you can get them done really well for a fraction of the price. And oftentimes that's good, you know. Put the knobs like we showed you in the other photo, right? Makes a big difference. Hardware makes a huge difference, right? A couple of things on appliances. Oftentimes when you buy a house, it might have appliances in it. When you rent it out, should you rent it with or without appliances? Huh? With. It depends. What does your lease agreement say? All right? Because here's the thing. I provide you with appliances break down. Guess who's responsible for fixing them? Me, right? So here's what I do. Again, what is the thing? This is worth the price of the ticket. Okay? Lots of, you guys are getting this for free, just by the way. So this ticket is the best tickets ever. Here's the thing. If I'm buying a house and I'm buying it with old appliances and I'm putting a tenant in there, you know what I put in my lease? The owner is providing the appliances simply as a service to the tenant, but we are not responsible for the appliances. In other words, if the appliances break down, not fixing them. I will cart them away for you, but if the fridge breaks down, you need to buy yourself a new fridge. If the range breaks, right? I'm just saying, there's certain things that you have to deal with, but does that make sense? Because I don't know the life expectancy of that appliance, and so I don't want to be on the thing. Okay, so that's the first thing. If I am going to give appliances, do I buy new or do I go on Craigslist and buy used? What do you think? Who says new? Who says used? Interesting. Mike, what do you say? What was that? I can't hear you. This was a fail. I'm sorry I asked. I can't hear you. You can tell us after. That didn't work well. New. Okay. Yeah, I would buy new. Do you know why? Warranty? Yeah. It's not the only reason. Do you know why? What does it cost me to get someone out when somebody's oven breaks down? Right? It's at least $100. Most of the time, they either can't fix it or the fix is going to be like $200. How many call-outs am I going to get on that stupid thing before I've bought a new oven or a new fridge or a new whatever, right? And here's another tip. There's certain American Express cards, maybe there's other cards that do this. I don't know what they are, but they do it on American Express. If you buy an item like a fridge or whatever, they will actually double the warranty that you receive on it. So if I go to Best Buy and buy a fridge and I buy it on my Amex, they'll give me an additional year of warranty beyond that. So I've got 2 years of warranty, it's hassle-free. And if I catch a good deal, even better, right? And then I'm good. Does that make sense? So if you're buying a house with appliances already in there, I would write the lease in such a way that says, you know what, you're on your own. And I mean, look, if you've got a great tenant, like I've had tenants that were awesome, man, I'd be happy to buy them a fridge or happy to buy them whatever, just to keep, that's good. But I'm saying when you don't know, especially when you're buying when you're buying a house with tenants that you don't know or you haven't placed yourself, which tend to be the most problematic ones in my experience, in those situations, I like to kind of limit my liability, right? Does that make sense? That's going to save you thousands, I promise you. Just what I've told you just then. Paint, just do grey and white. Grey on the walls, white trim, okay? Just do it. I'm not going to get into why, just do it. I'll tell you why. If you do white around the trims, it's easy to touch up, right? That's really where you get your damage and your fingerprints and stuff oftentimes, because people touch around doors and stuff, right? Plus it just looks really nice. And you know the other thing about grey that's great? It's not only contemporary right now, but it actually gives you really good coverage. Okay, certain colors, it's hard to color. Like I've seen this happen and it really annoys me because again, it ends up being 17 shades of paint. But you'll see people started out with like, say like a cream or a white, then it got dirty, you know what they did? They painted it a darker cream. And then they painted it like a gray. And then they painted an even darker gray. And eventually the wall is like that dark blue that you saw before because they just painted a progressive shades because they were lazy. You know, but if you stick with gray, gray is really easy for coverage, it looks beautiful, it matches things, it just works. So I highly encourage you to do that. I would go with an eggshell or a satin on the walls. And the reason for that is eggshell and satin, it's not just a dull matte finish. And because it's not a dull matte finish, guess what? It's easier to clean. You can scrub it off, right? Now, you don't want to go so shiny. Some people are so cheap. They put this thing, it's like a reflective mirror. And you walk in there and you're like, don't do that. If you don't respect your property, other people won't either. I've been into a house where literally you walk in and the carpet in the hallway was red. The carpet in this one was green. This one was orange and this one was purple. It's like they went to the store and said, give me the cheapest offcuts you've got, right? Stupid. Because you know what happens? The minute the tenant walks in there, they might have to rent that house. They've got no other options. They're not approved or whatever, But how much care do you think they're going to take of that property when they see it like that? Right? I mean, you see how we rehab our homes. They look good, right? When we walk in there, we say to the tenant, you know what? We are providing you one of the best houses in the neighborhood. We know. We buy houses in this neighborhood. We expect you to look after it. But at the same time, I want to show you that we appreciate you as a tenant. We're not just giving you garbage. There's a higher level of ownership. Does that make sense? And the differences between the off-cut and the proper carpet? It's dollars, right? It's not huge. But it makes such a difference. Such a difference. Make sense? So don't be cheap for the purpose of being cheap because it's not going to help you. Thank you. There we go. Carpet. Do you put carpet in the house? Here's the thing. I don't like carpet in rentals. Do you know why? The minute they're stained, you got to replace them, right? Like the minute that someone drops a glass of wine on it, they might be okay with it. It's their mess. Next person comes in and goes, I don't want that, right? It's fun for sacrificing animals like I showed you in the other picture, but I'm just saying it's not good, Now, sometimes in the basement, you need to put carpet just because it can be quite cold. And so people will complain about that. Again, depends on your climate. Florida, you can probably get away with it, right? Up north, Chicago, you probably want carpet in your basement. I don't love it, And I try and get, preferably like a darker carpet so that the stains don't show as much. But where I can, I put luxury vinyl tile, vinyl planks. It's so much better. The only other place where you just need to use wisdom is if you pull up the carpet or the flooring, wherever you've got a very uneven floor, carpet will hide that, right? You use a very thick mat underneath, put the carpet, and it will look somewhat level because the mat underneath will absorb some of that. You try and put a floor in, whether it be vinyl or hardwood or whatever, it's going to look like that. It doesn't work. It's going to cost you a fortune, right? So again, depends, right? But use wisdom. Don't always listen when the person says, oh, you got to put carpet in here. Why? Don't listen the other way. You got to put, no, because now you want to spend $30,000 fixing all my floors and leveling them out. Just put carpet, it'll be fine. I'd rather turn the carpet a couple of times in that situation. Does that make sense? So again, just wisdom. This is from experience. I've done all these things. Here's a really simple one. Patching a shower surround. So we bought a house. This lady was in it. She had, I think, 3 teeth and about 8 cats. She didn't know how many cats she had. We asked her and she said, I stopped counting at 8. So this lady, she lived in this house. This is a trashy part of town. But anyway, it wasn't a great house. What ended up happening is, you know how you have the shower tub surround? It's kind of like plastic on this side, and this side, right? They got a crack, I don't know how, when we bought it was like that. They got a crack there in the thing, and we got a quote from a plumber to come out, and he said it was like $1,800 to replace it, because he said when we pull the old surround off, it's going to break and whatever, like, just, there's a good chance we're going to have to do that. So I was like, I paid like, I think $13,000 for the house. I'm like, I'm not spending $1,800 on the shower surround, but I didn't know what to do because there was a hole in the surround, and when they showered, especially the kids or they're in the bath, what they would do is squirt water or kind of splash water, and so it would get behind and ruin the drywall, and then actually go down into the basement. So I had to do something. So I went to my contractor. I said, John, what do you think we should do? And he's like, you could fix the shower surround. He goes, you know what I would do? I'm like, yes. What would you do? He said, you know those door stops? You know the ones like the like big plastic pieces like that? You put them so that when the door handle hits the wall, it doesn't go through? He goes, I just go to Home Depot and I buy one of those and just buy some caulking and I'll just stick it on. And I'm like, but that looks really ugly. He's like, so what? They're living in a $13,000 house. It'll be fine. So that's what we did. We fixed it for like $10 instead of $1,800. But how many people will tell you that and give you that option, right? So sometimes look for solutions, and it didn't look bad, please hear me, because I didn't go and put a purple patch on a white thing. It was like a cream-coloured thing. It looked fine, it did the job. It looked like a feature. When something's just made up, you just call it a feature. Make sense? But it was $10 instead of $1,800, right? And functionally, the shower surround was fine. There's just no other way to fix it without replacing the whole thing and potentially tearing it off the wall. Does that make sense? So that's just wisdom. All right. You know what? Let's take a, do you want to take a break or do you want to keep going for a bit longer? LVT, luxury vinyl tile. It's all it is it can be vinyl. LVP is luxury vinyl plank. Basically looks like wood, but it's plastic. It's PVC. I love it. I love it for a couple of reasons. Number one is it looks great. It's very upmarket compared to having carpet oftentimes. It tends to be spill proof, so you can put water on it. I mean, man, some of these dogs in these houses, I've sat, I'm not even kidding you, I've sat there talking to a tenant of mine and watched this dog pee right behind him, left this massive puddle, and this was hardwood, peed on the puddle. I'm looking at him, he's looking at the dog's looking at me, but didn't stop. And so I said to him, like, oh, that's interesting. And he goes, oh yeah, I'll clean that. But we both walked out of the house, like a minute later, and he got in his car and drove away. He didn't clean nothing. It basically, just the puddle was there still. You know what happens when dog urine gets into hardwood? Right. The point is, if you put that stuff down, you can have a spill, 24 hours, come and wipe it up, and it'll be fine. Right? It's just better.